Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Lake County Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an outstanding guest with us this morning, Mr. William C. King I. He's a law enforcement officer, Lake County, Illinois, and he is a person that you should know. Good morning, Mr. King.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks.
We're very happy that you have literally taken time from your busy schedule to be with us this bright morning to let Lake County know who you are. Lake County, as you know, is approximately, 750 to 800,000 people, but I don't know how many up this bright morning, Sunday morning at 5 o'clock to listen to the program, but I understand we have a pretty good audience. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, this program is inspirational and educational, and it's, we say political, because if we have one political guest, we have to give the same opportunity to the opposition. And so we're just going to have a good time today. So, Mr. King, we're going to talk about your favorite topic, a career in law enforcement. But first of all, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background. Who is William C. King I?
All right. As Dr. Brooks stated, my name is William C. King I. I am a lifelong resident of Lake County, Illinois, more specifically North Chicago, Waukegan, Zion areas. I currently reside in the city of Zion, where I have so for the past 14 plus years. I am a graduate of Waukegan High School, 1993. I'm a graduate of Illinois State University, 1998.
My alma mater.
All right, go Redbirds.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I go back 1957 now.
All right. Well, you laid the groundwork for us. After obtaining my Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice Science, I actually came back home, and I worked in the capacity of a juvenile correctional officer with the 19th Judicial Circuit Court. Louise Loud, Sue Corpay were my... Actually, Louise Loud was over it, Miss Louise Loud. Hello. And Miss Sue Corpay was actually over the detention portion of it. We did that for a couple of years, and I actually got promoted there pretty quickly. And just feeling like I needed to do something else, I decided to join the police force. Now, me joining the police force, one would ask, why would you do that? Well, one, there was a bet that I couldn't perform the physical functions of the police officer at a Christmas party. And then two, my wife was with my firstborn, Miss Amani King. And I knew I had responsibilities coming, and I needed something that it was going to be stable, and I was going to enjoy doing. So segue into law enforcement, and I worked at, I got hired at North Chicago Police Department in 2001. And the funny thing about that is upon, receiving my commission card and whatnot, Deputy Chief Thies at the time called myself and the other officer who got hired on along with me, and he pulled us in, and he told us he wanted us to write on a sheet of paper what we attempted to accomplish our first year of being a law enforcement officer. We wrote on a sheet of paper. We didn't show anybody. He handed us envelopes, and we sealed the envelopes. We sealed the letters in the envelopes. He put it in the safe. He said, in a year, I want you guys to come back, and we're going to open these letters up and see if you accomplish what you set out to do. So, mind you, year goes on, and I am on duty. I get a call to 1019, which means to report back to the office. And any officer out there knows when they get that 1019 report to office, oh man, what did I? You go in your head like, did I do something wrong? Did I, file something up? And then once he called me into the office and he handed me the letter, I instantly knew what it was. Jogged my memory, and he asked me, "Did you accomplish your goals?" And I opened the letter, and I kind of was taken aback because I wrote in there that I wanted to clean up crime from 10th Street to Buckley Road, and I wanted young people to be able to come out without fear of being shot, stabbed, battered, robbed. And my answer to his question was no. I did not accomplish my goal. And it stuck with me so much. I went back into my squad car and I wrote another letter to myself and I sealed it. A year later, I did open it again. But at this time, I was a little bit more proud of myself because I had gotten to know the community I was working with. We implemented some programming. So I just felt real good about it later on. So after that, I was just furthering my education. I'm all about scholarship. I love to get into a book. I love to read. I love to develop my mind and keep developing my mind. So I got my master's degree from Webster University, and that was in 2010. And that is in organizational business security management. So that just allows me to basically run a security organization, security business. From there, we got hired on at Lake County Sheriff's Office in 2012. Sheriff Mark Kern hired me. Actually, to tell you the truth, I had put out a plethora of applications trying to get back into policing. And I said, you know what? I put in applications at, different municipalities. And I was always coming up, fourth on the list, fifth on the list, never getting a call from any of those organizations. So I said, you know what? I'm applying to these big organizations. Maybe they'll take a chance on me. So I applied to Chicago Police Department, Lake County Sheriff's Office, Chicago's Independent Review Authority for their police officers. And I applied to another Illinois State Police. Of those four entities, all four called. And I was in the process of Illinois State and Chicago's getting the medical. And I just, for something told me, hey, get your wife's input on this because this is not all about you anymore. So when I told her the choices, one was she didn't want to move to Chicago. And so two of the jobs were kind of like, we have to put those on the, sideline. But, between county and state, we felt more comfortable with county and going that way. So 10 years later, here I am. But I have not stopped furthering my education. I actually entered into a doctoral program at National Louis University, and it's in the field of community psychology.
Education is a highlight of, it should be of all students' career, but especially in law enforcement. Why is this so important in education and law enforcement?
Well, I think the reason why education is important in law enforcement, it expands our horizons. It allows us to tap into different resources that we wouldn't ordinarily know that existed. It also gives you a option of thinking outside the box. In law enforcement, we always say circumstances dictate our tactics. I am in agreement with that, but I also believe the more education I have behind me, I'm more able to make a better decision on things, maybe who to incorporate with that decision making, forming committees, groups of that nature. I mean, you don't need a degree to do that, but what a degree does is it exposes me to different people. It allows me to network. It actually allows me to get a baseline of where I think we need to go. And then that's when you form your committees and whatnot. And then you get that further input from individuals, other organizations.
Well, I like to mention this at the onset here. You got your start at Tots and Tyler's Daycare Center. Is that right?
That is correct.
It was amazing when you told me that. It's been so long. It's been quite a few years when you told me that, and I was very excited and proud of you there. And I didn't hesitate to invite you on the program this morning and other programs that I may have. And I do remember your father and your mother bringing you to the center.
Yes, sir.
And to know that we have played a great part in your career development.
Absolutely, sir. It takes a village to raise a child, and I truly believe in that. And, if it weren't for my experiences coming up, I don't think I'd be the man or the person I am today. And I think all those things help mold you. And it also gives you the ability to make a decision and be comfortable with your decision based upon your experiences. So now I won't go out and make a reckless decision about something, because not only is that decision affecting me, that decision may affect, someone's mom, someone's dad, brother, sister. So a lot goes into it as far as, your upbringing and whatnot. But I truly feel that helps mold you. So thank you.
Yeah, okay, right. And we say, may you have a great career.
Thank you.
And now I understand that you are a candidate for the Lake County Sheriff's Office. You want to tell me about your decision? I guess education still played a part in your advancement, but what prompted your decision to be a candidate for sheriff? An office that you've been in for 12 years, you mentioned?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years at the sheriff's office.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And evidently you must have seen something that education could play a great part in it to improve that organization.
Yeah, you know what, Dr. Brooks? This isn't a decision that was made, within the last year, 2 years. I truly believe that everything that I have gone through in my life, my epiphanies and everything else, has brought me to this point. When I got hired at the sheriff's office, a funny thing happened. So I'm in the interview room with about 5 or 6 administrators with the sheriff's office. And they asked me a couple questions, very profound questions that stuck out in my mind. One was, would I be able to humble myself to work with someone with less experience?
Oh.
And it was no hesitation. Yes. I don't have any problem working with anyone. There has to be a two-way street on that, but, I'm looking for a job right now. So whatever it takes, I'm going to do. So that was my answer to that question. The second question was, well, what do you want to do here at the sheriff's office? What do you hope to accomplish? And I sat back and I said, and I wasn't really understanding of the hierarchy of the sheriff's office or what positions, So I said, what's the highest ranking position that you could have at the sheriff's office? And, they replied, the sheriff. And I said, well, I hope to one day assume the position of sheriff. They all laughed, but one person. And, that stuck with me, because I'm sitting there telling you I wish to aspire to be the highest ranking officer in this
organization,
in this office, and you laugh. You don't even know what I bring to the table yet. So, I took that and put it in my back pocket. But I didn't stop there. I saw a need for something to help the community and law enforcement come together. I saw an ever-growing gap. So what I decided to do was create programming. I created a de-escalation diffusion course for law enforcement and civilians. So we tried to implement that. Then, there was further division. So I created, because civilians didn't know what to expect of police officers or law enforcement, and law enforcement didn't know what to expect of its citizens anymore. So I created a law enforcement and civilian etiquette course, which basically told you, hey, these are some of the things that we expect. And we understand that the community may not grasp everything that we do and the reasons why we do. But there has to come a time when we can have some type of dialogue and be transparent. And I'm not just talking about transparency as far as I'll give you just enough. I'm talking about being transparent and allowing you to see what we're doing so that we can build some type of rapport, thereby building trust. And I think that's the biggest component that we're missing right now. There is a lack of trust, and it's on both sides. And I just believe that I can bridge that gap. You get all this education, you have all this experience, but you sit on the sideline and you watch other people do the job, and you say, man, but I can do that, but I can bring this to the table. I can do this. And it wasn't until George Floyd passed. Well, I'm not even going to say passed. If we're going to be transparent, when George Floyd was killed, I'm a cigar smoker. And I had a couple of my fraternity brothers, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, over for a couple of cigars and, just conversation. And that conversation turned to Mr. Floyd and his murder. And they asked me, as a law enforcement officer, what do you think? Now, I've been put on the spot many a times. And, as a law enforcement officer, I know to be quick to think, slow to speak.
Okay.
So I told them, well, I have to view the video and everything else. I need the totality of the picture before I can make an informed decision or opinion about what I believe happened. And they just right away, you're victim blaming. You're taking up for the officer. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. And I realized at that point in time, we're speaking two different languages. I was speaking from a cop's or law enforcement perspective, and they were coming from the community. And I said, you know what? This is not going to happen on my watch any longer. So what I did was I created a forum. I don't know if you remember this. It was called Bridge Building Forum. Omega Psi Phi Rotal chapter put it on. Yeah, I put it on.
Okay, I guess.
So once that was put on, we had everybody from congressmen, state reps, mayors. We even had the sheriff on. And, I'm facilitating all this, but I'm also sitting back. Our moderator was Mark Jones.
Okay.
And I'm listening to everybody speak. And I initially took offense with State Rep Mayfield. She had made a comment that this helps nothing. We have solved nothing by being here. We have solved nothing by this communication. And I told her, no, we've gotten somewhere. We're communicating. People who haven't talked before are talking now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I missed her point. I think I missed what she was actually truly trying to say. That there was no one up there that took a stance on any one issue. We were basically saying why we can't do certain things. The law doesn't allow this. And I said, wow, I can do something about this. So if you ask, probably at that point in time, I'm like, no longer will I sit on the sideline. No longer will I let not my peers, but my elders drive this bus anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It is my time. It is time to step up and assume responsibility for my community, my profession. So that is why I am running for sheriff of Lake County. I believe I am the total package. I bring education. I bring lived experiences. And also, what I bring to the table is ownership of my profession. I will not send anybody to any stakeholders meetings. I will attend them.
Mm-hmm.
I will be forefront with the issues at hand. We're not. I'm gonna do as I say. Say as I do and do as I say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been my mantra. To always, if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, to do it. We have to be able to bridge that gap with the community. We have to be able to be personable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my way or the highway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to communicate with each other. And not only that communication, in my 17 years of experience, I've sat in many rooms with various law enforcement officials. I have not always felt wanted in those rooms. I have not always felt included in those rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Does it happen today? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have to change the culture within law enforcement. I always told somebody, you call us to fix your house, but if our house is not in order, how can we fix your house? So with that being said, the sheriff is doing some good things. I'm not taking away from anything that he has done.
Mm-hmm.
He has had a very daunting task. But myself as a law enforcement official with lived experience, with the education, I have to put myself out there. I have to get out of my comfort zone. It is time. Vote for William C. King, Lake County Sheriff 2022.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Mr. William C. King, the first law enforcement officer in Lake County, Illinois. And he is so eloquently spoke about his candidacy for the Lake County Sheriff's Office 2022. And Mr. King, there's certain attributes that not only a sheriff, but other professionals. And some attributes would be speech, dress, basic communications. You spoke about reading, writing, math, computer skills as some of the gamuts of the qualities, and I call them attributes that are needed for any leader. I mean, not only just the Lake County Sheriff. Do you want to expound on some of these?
Oh, I think all those are fair. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that the attributes of a leader, and, I'm going to say this, some people might not like it, but in order to lead, you had to have followed.
Okay.
because you got to know how to lead.
Okay.
And being a leader is not easy. Being a leader means that you're making some decisions that may not be favorable in everyone's eye, but making the decision nonetheless. Being a leader is putting your people in position, equipping them with resources so they then become empowered.
Mm-hmm.
We have a situation, and I don't want to get off, topic with that, but the attrition in the law enforcement profession, and I can only speak of the sheriff's office because that's all that's what I'm involved with right now. And the attrition is happening at a very alarming rate.
Wow.
We are losing our bright stars. And I will say this, I've worked with some of these people. I know what they bring to the table. And to hear that they are separating themselves from the sheriff's office is just mind-blowing to me. For what they bring to the table, our communities need. Mm-hmm. These people are leaving. I believe that any leader worth his salt, sees this issue, resolves this issue, retains his bright stars, his or her. Let me preface that. And I think that is an indication of leadership also. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I do use as far as leadership and those attributes that you just mentioned, the communication portion is just, so important.
Right.
If we don't communicate, I tell people that we have 3 different languages in the community. The language of law enforcement, the language of the community, and the language of the streets. Mm-hmm. You don't understand the different languages, so how can you communicate, right? And we can almost, like the Tower of Babel, when they were trying to build the tower up to God and trying to reach God, and God was like, well, wait a minute, that's not for you to do. Mm-hmm. And each person that was building spoke differently, so they were no longer able to complete their task.
Exactly. And
I think something along those lines are happening within our community, right? And I say community because it's the Lake County community. We have law enforcement speaking the language, but community. But the community says, hey, law enforcement, you're not helping us out. Well, law enforcement is like, hey, wait a minute, we're asking you questions, but you say you don't want to speak to the police. But you know that, little Joe or little John out here on the street, you know what he's doing, but you not saying anything almost condone it. But as community, you say, we'll handle that. But what does that tell the police officer, right? We're not communicating. It's when we are able to communicate with each other, we will be so just empowered to do different things, to go different places. So right now we're kind of stagnant, and I can help bridge those gaps.
Well, Mr. King, we've come to the end of our program, and I think we're going to have a part 2 in the near future, because I'd like to talk about community involvement, how important community involvement is, and about the general area of the sheriff coverage. We have police, city policemen, and then we have the county area. We're gonna talk some more about that. Okay. But there are 3 types of people in the world. There are those that make things happen, and those that watch things happen, and there's others that wonder what's happening. And I have to put you, and you have shown the community this morning that you are a person that's making things happen.
Yes, sir.
And we want to appreciate you again taking time from your busy schedule to be with us on Lake County Community Focus. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., and this has been discussion with Mr. William C. King I. And at the top of the program, I mentioned that he is a person that you should know. This has been Lake County Community Focus. Thank you for listening.